Usopp is not the strongest member of the Straw Hat Pirates. He doesn't have overwhelming power like Luffy, the precision of Zoro, or the intelligence of Robin. In fact, at first glance, Usopp looks like the weakest. He lies, he runs, he panics, and he doubts himself constantly. But that's exactly what makes him one of the most important characters in One Piece. Because Usopp represents something most people try to hide: fear, insecurity, and the desperate need to be seen as enough. From the very beginning, Usopp builds his identity on lies. He tells exaggerated stories about being a great warrior, a brave hero, a captain of thousands. But these aren't just jokes or comic relief. These lies are a shield. They are his way of coping with how small he feels inside. When someone repeatedly tells the world who they wish they were, it usually means they don't believe they are that person yet. Usopp isn't just lying to others, he's trying to convince himself. And that's something a lot of people do in real life, creating personas to cover up deep insecurity. What makes Usopp's journey so powerful is that he doesn't start off courageous. Courage is not his default state. Fear is. Every time danger appears, his first instinct is to run. His body shakes, his mind races, and his confidence disappears. But here's the key truth. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is action in spite of fear. And Usopp embodies this definition better than almost anyone in anime. One of the most defining aspects of Usopp's psychology is his self-perception. He constantly compares himself to the rest of the crew. Standing next to monsters like Luffy and Zoro, Usopp feels insignificant. This comparison creates a narrative in his mind. I don't belong here. I'm not strong enough. I'm just a burden. And once that belief takes root, it begins to shape his reality. He hesitates more, doubts more, and pulls back when he should step forward. This is how insecurity works. It's not just a feeling. It's a lens that distorts everything you see about yourself. This internal struggle reaches its peak during the Water 7 arc, one of the most emotionally intense moments in the series. When the crew decides they can no longer keep the Going Merry, Usopp doesn't just see it as losing a ship, he sees it as proof that things that are weak get abandoned. And in his mind, that includes him. The Going Merry becomes a symbol of his own self-worth. If the crew can let go of the ship, then what's stopping them from letting go of him? This fear triggers one of the most painful decisions he makes: challenging Luffy. His fight against Monkey D. Luffy is not really about winning. Deep down, Usopp knows he can't win. This fight is about proving that he matters. It's about screaming, "Don't overlook me, don't leave me behind." And even though he loses physically, something incredible happens. He stands his ground. Despite the fear, despite the overwhelming odds, he fights with everything he has. That moment alone shows that courage has always been inside him. It just needed to be activated. Usopp's transformation doesn't happen overnight. There's no sudden moment where he becomes fearless. Instead, his growth is gradual, layered, and realistic. He continues to feel fear, but he starts choosing differently. In moments where he would normally run, he begins to stay. In situations where he would hide, he steps forward. This is the real process of overcoming insecurity. Not eliminating fear, but changing your response to it. A perfect example of this evolution is his role as Sogeking during the Enies Lobby arc. When Usopp puts on the mask, something shifts. The mask gives him distance from his own insecurities. It allows him to act without the weight of his self-doubt. But here's the deeper truth. Sogeking isn't a different person. Sogeking is Usopp without insecurity. It's the version of himself that he's always had within him, but was too afraid to fully express. The mask doesn't create courage. It reveals it. And this raises an important psychological insight. Sometimes, people need symbolic tools to access parts of themselves they don't believe they have. Whether it's a persona, a title, or a new identity, these tools can help bridge the gap between who you are and who you believe you can become. But eventually, The goal is to realize that you never needed the mask in the first place. Usopp's dream of becoming a brave warrior of the sea is not about physical strength. It's about identity. He doesn't want to be fearless. He wants to be someone who acts with bravery, even when fear is present. And that's what makes his dream so relatable. Because for most people, the battle isn't external, it's internal. It's the voice that says you're not enough, not capable, not worthy. As the story progresses, Usopp continues to prove his value in ways that go beyond strength. His creativity, his strategy, and his resilience become essential to the crew's survival. He may not be the strongest, but he's one of the most adaptable. And adaptability is a form of intelligence that often gets overlooked. In real life, the ability to think differently, to find unconventional solutions, and to keep going despite fear is what separates those who grow from those who stay stuck. What's truly inspiring about Usopp is that his journey never becomes unrealistic. Even after all his growth, he still gets scared. He still doubts himself. But the difference is, he doesn't let those feelings control him the way they used to. He has built evidence within himself, proof that he can face fear and survive it. And that evidence becomes the foundation of real confidence. Because confidence is not something you magically gain. It's something you build through repeated experiences of facing what scares you. Every time Usopp stands his ground, every time he fights despite wanting to run, he rewires his self-perception. He starts to see himself not as the weakest, but as someone who can endure, someone who can rise when it matters most. Usopp teaches a powerful lesson. Your perception of yourself is not fixed. It can change. You can't think your way out of insecurity. You have to act your way out of it. And that action doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be consistent. In a world that glorifies strength, confidence, and perfection, Usopp represents something different. He represents the journey of becoming, the messy, uncomfortable, uncertain process of facing your fears and slowly rewriting the story you tell yourself. He shows that you don't need to start off strong to become strong. You don't need to be fearless to be brave. And maybe that's why Usopp resonates so deeply with people. Because he reflects the part of us that is afraid, the part that doubts, the part that feels like it doesn't measure up. But he also reflects the possibility of growth. The idea that even if you start as the weakest, you don't have to stay that way. At the end of the day, Usopp's story is not just about fear and courage. It's about identity. It's about realizing that who you are is not defined by your worst moments, your doubts, or your fears. It's defined by what you choose to do in spite of them. And every time you choose to stand instead of run, to act instead of hide, you become a little more like the person you've always wanted to be. That's the real meaning of becoming a brave warrior. Not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward anyway.